Hey everybody, what's going on? Back again. Hopefully everybody's having a good day, night, evening, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are at. Pretty much the only thing this video is about is, well, really just gonna show my new RAM water block that I have installed, DDR5. The water block is compatible with both DDR4 and DDR5 RAM. My Viper Extreme Series 5 sticks is what's underneath that block. Excuse me. Yeah, and that's really pretty much the only thing I have to show in this is, yeah. So how it actually works is it's actually plumbed to piggyback off the CPU. So how it works is my reservoir is underneath the test bench here, which this is the reservoir right here for the CPU. Excuse me. It comes out, shoots over to my EK D5 pump, or no, this is my Corsair D5 pump. Goes in, then the pump pumps it out into the back radiator here. Comes out, goes through the bottom, across the top, then out the side here, down into the CPU. Then it goes through the CPU, out of the CPU into the RAM. The orientation does not matter. It does not affect temperatures whatsoever. I've already had the RAM down to 4C with no problem at all with the AC on. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Not the actual water block that I want. The actual water block that I want, I forgot the name of the company who made it, but they no longer make it. So it's a Royal BT to get your hands on. It's next to impossible to find. So I already know that if I'm lucky enough to find it, it's going to cost me a few dollars, which I don't care. If I want it, I'm going to have it. It's just that simple. And the reason why I want this specific block that I'm keeping my eyes open for is because how these water blocks work is on top of the RAM stick, the water block sits on top of the RAM stick, or the water block sits on top of the RAM stick. Water does not go down to the sides of the heat sink, which if I turn the light on, you can actually see it. There's the heat sink right there. The water does not go down on the side of the heat sink, so the heat's got to travel up the heat sink to the water block. And the kit that I actually want, the heat sinks actually have passages in themselves that directly cool the RAM, which is what I actually want. Yes, that is thermo paste. Well, it's like a thermal paste pad. It's so close to being a paste, but it's a pad. And what that actually is, that's actually thermal paste sheets from my 2080 Ti Kingpin card when I took and I got the water block for that and got the pads. But I'm gonna be buying more of it because, well, I don't have any more. So the more I take the water block off, the more it bangs up the 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 thermal paste pad or whatever. Or I may just go to straight thermal paste on that and just do it that way, which I might just do it that way. But I'd rather have the pad because it's overall cleaner. It doesn't get all over the place. But yeah, that is what it is. In the same time too, I may actually take and sand down the heatsink to make sure, see if it's aluminum or not. If it's not aluminum, which I think it is, but if it's not aluminum, I could just do liquid metal on it. If it is aluminum, I can't do liquid metal. That's the part that'll go to suck because liquid metal and aluminum do not play well together. So yeah, it is what it is. But if I can get those heat sinks in copper, which I haven't tried to look for them yet, but if I get those heat sinks in copper, yeah, I'm doing liquid metal, just because I can. But yeah, so that's that. And although I've done walkthroughs of this test bench a number of times, people still ask me about the cooling setup on the system because for my temps and stuff like that. So for the umpteenth time, I'm going to go through the cooling on it because no matter how many times I do a walkthrough, people don't seem to grasp the cooling. Got 5,000 BTU AC. My other one I had previously was 15,000, but this is either 5,000 or 8,000 BTU AC. I got two radiators here. Both of them are alpha cool. One's a 80 millimeter. The other one's 60, which the front one here is the 60. The back one's the 80. The back one houses my CPU, and the front one houses the GPU. Now, how it works, excuse me, how it works on the GPU end is my pump is right here my reservoir is right here for the GPU end. Water comes out, goes into the reservoir, out the side of the reservoir here into my DDC pump. My EKDDC pump pumps it up, goes into the front radiator, goes across the bottom, comes out, goes across the top, comes out, goes into the GPU, cools the GPU, comes out, and it's just a giant circle that way. CPU is set up the exact same way, just has the RAM in the mix now. I was actually really surprised. Well, with this PETG tubing, I had it in like a horseshoe, and that was really bugging me. I didn't like it. It looked sloppy, and it just looked like hell, point blank. So I took it. I threw a 90 in here, and I was actually really surprised if I can actually get it with how tight that 90 is. I don't know if I can get it. I'm gonna try. But I was actually really surprised that I was able to get that 90 in there. Come on, turn on light. There we go. I'm really surprised that I was able to get that 90 in there without that pinching, because how I actually managed that was I took my heat gun and I heated up the tubing, and then I put the bend in, so it bent a lot easier. And yeah, so I mean, trying to get the best angle of that 90, because I mean it's quite intense. I'm not gonna be able to get it, but yeah, so that's pretty much that. Now there's one kicker to having an AC be in the cooling system, which I don't even have to have the AC on to cool it, because I got the fans that actually do it, that pull air through, so I don't even have to use the AC or none of that. But when you're doing the AC cooling, I'm gonna let a little trick that I use that works perfect, that works beautiful. It's basic physics. When you cool down water, it expands, which in a loop creates pressure. Which for water blocks, like CPU wise, yes, it's going to cause spider cracks. There's really no way around that. It's pressure. It's just how it is. Excuse me. But when cooling a system like this, or a test bench, or even a regular desktop PC, if you have it hooked up to an AC, when you get the water cold enough, it expands. It causes pressure on all your lines, all your fittings, everything. And then when it warms up, the pressure goes down. So which when you cool it down, yes, it causes the acrylic or the plastic, whatever type of plastic's being used for the water block. Yes, it creates it to flex. It has to give. And the problem with that is when it gives, it can, and yes, it will cause your fittings to leak. Whether it's on the tubing end or where your fitting meets the water block, it will cause them to leak. And after a while, it also causes them to loosen up, which causes leaking again. Which is another reason why, like, when my Optimus blocks are leaking, that's why I started leaking, because from me going from hot to cold, the way I was going, and as cold as I was going, it was causing the block to flex, and when it flexes, it breaks the seal. So when I redid the seal on the bottom of the water block, I also had to do it again on the top, because the top started leaking. So I redid it again on the top with the RTV, and then the top part here actually has clear RTV silicone, so you'll never know it's there, but it is there. Another little trick that I do, that is a little trick that I do for areas that I don't want the RTV to be seen, is all around the top of the water block here, where the acrylic or that plastic meets the actual aluminum part of the water block, that is all RTV gasket maker in between there, so that will not leak. It's got the flex, it can flex, so when it gets cold, it expands, contracts, it's perfectly fine, it will not leak. And yes, I've already tested it. Haven't done it for the RAM water block yet. I don't know if I'm going to or not, because I haven't seen no issues with that. But a little trick of the trade, well, my trick of the trade that I use, which I will let the cat out of the bag more or less if I can find it, which I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it. Oh wait, I know where it's at. Hang on one moment. I got it right here. The good old Loctite, automotive Loctite thread locker. Now, what I do on all of my fittings, on the radiator, the water blocks, all my fittings, even where my fitting goes into the 90, and then where the 90 goes into the water block, everything, all my fittings have just a very, very ever so slight dab of Loctite on them. So that way there, when I screw everything in and the gasket makes the seal, I let it sit for a couple minutes so the Loctite can actually dry up, and that prevents any leaking from happening. So when the water block flexes, when a water block flexes and the fittings and all that, they expand and everything from the pressure, it won't allow it to leak because the Loctite prevents the fitting from loosening up. That's done on everything: my RAM water block, my CPU water block, my GPU water block, my radiators, is done on all of it. So it's even done on my reservoirs. They all, everything has just a little dot of a thread locker on it. Now I can hear some people probably saying, good luck trying to get them out. It's not that big of a deal. The amount on it is so small to where it'll hold the fitting in place, but all I have to take and do is get a firm grip on the fitting and give it a nice turn, and it'll pop loose. However, but at the same time too, it also holds it solid enough to where the fittings will not come loose. I can literally take any one of these 90s, and if I just, well, it's all filled up with water right now. The loop's filled up, both loops are filled up. But if I actually took and disconnected the hose, I could really take these 90s and just rotate them, and they will not break free. But yeah, with that being said, turn the system on, turn the test bench on, so you guys can pretty much see the everything up in action. Yeah, that's pretty much that. And this room is quite a bit warm. I have my heater on, so my temperatures are going to be a little bit higher than normal. When my heat's off and I'm just chilling, relaxing, my RAM is usually around 19 to 20 C. But I mean, in the same time too, I really can't push it because my 14900 KF is defective. So I can't push the RAM. The CPU just instantly goes unhappy when I push the RAM. So the RAM, I got it set on the motherboard for automatic. It automatically does it, which that's going to automatically do it according to what the CPU is happy with. So the RAM is being pushed as hard as it can according to what the CPU is happy with for the system to be running stable. But yes, I do have a replacement 14900 KF coming in the mail. Just waiting for that. That actually got shipped this morning, so it should be here within a week. So I'll get that in the mail. Once I get that in the mail, I'll delid that, install that, and hopefully everything goes good on that one. But outside of that, there you go. As you can see, the system is up and running. I'll pull up hardware monitor. No, I'm not really gonna do any benching on this because, well, as I said, the CPU is defective, so I can't push nothing really. But there you go. As I had already said too, is my heater's on. My RAM is running a little bit warmer than normal. Everything is running warmer than it usually is. Well, there's my heater. It's on, so, and that's blowing quite hot, but there you go. As you can see, everything is up and running. And just to give you a fair heads up, I only do the test bench setup for winter time. Once winter breaks and a nicer weather comes back around, all this hardware, yes, is going to be going into a case. I've already got my case in mind. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Oh, and for what it's worth, I finally did order a microscope this morning, which I'm waiting for that to come in the mail so I can finally start doing more PCB work. And yeah, that'll be that. Almost 14 minutes in. This video is way longer than it should be, than I wanted it to be. But yeah, I figured I'd give away, or figure out, let one of my tricks out of the bag, I guess you can say, and how I do what I do. And yeah, so that'll be pretty much that. I mean, outside of that, hopefully everybody has a great day, night, evening, morning, whatever it is where you guys are at. As for me, for now, I'm out. Later.